Welcome to the first part of this series where we're going to be modeling this product from scratch. Let's get the reference images and get started. So Shift A, image, reference, and I'm going to provide these in the description. So we have 3 images, front, left, and top. So let's get the front, and I'm going to hit S and 2.5. Add in a plane and align it with this object. So I'm going to hit Tab, scale it up, grab this image to the middle, select the plane again, scale it up. I'm going to select the image, grab y-axis, scale the plane, grab y-axis, just align that, and get to the plane again, edit mode, scale x-axis, just match that thing right here. Gonna hit Ctrl 4 on this to give it a subdivision surface. Then we're gonna hit Ctrl R to give it an edge loop, and Ctrl R right here as well. And on this edge loop, we're gonna give it a bevel until it looks rounded. Bring down the offset a little bit. These edges look a little bit weird. Let's hit 3, select this face, Shift S cursor to select it. I'm gonna hit 1 and select this vertex. We're gonna go to the 3D cursor right there and scale this one. Now let's hit Ctrl R here. Delete these vertices, and I'm going to delete these as well. Get in a mirror modifier and bring it up. We're gonna get the X and Y axes here. Now if we hit Tab and edit these, everything will be edited with it. Shift Ctrl B on this one and bevel it. I think this works fine. So we got a very beautiful shape that looks exactly like my object. And now we want the side view, so for that, we're gonna have to extrude that. And before extruding, we should add another empty here, which is gonna be used for the side. Shift A, image, reference, and I'm gonna get the left side image right there. Alt R, scale it by 2.5 as always. We rotate it by y-axis 90 degrees. Let's select the image, grab y-axis, and bring it right here. I'm gonna scale it down a little bit, and this fits perfectly. First, let's add in a solidify modifier and bring it above the subdivision right there. Bring up the thickness. I'm gonna make the offset to 0. Bring up the thickness just like that. Select the image, bring it up to the middle, and I think thickness of 2 meters works fine. You can apply the mirror, the solidify, and leave the subdivision. And I'm gonna hit Ctrl R right here, select everything, and hit S, Shift Z. So we're scaling everything by all the axes but leaving the Z axis. Do it until we touch this corner. And I'm gonna select the middle loop and scale it up. Now we want to get our mirror back, so let's hit Tab, Alt Z, delete these vertices, X vertices, and delete these vertices as well. And I'm gonna delete these ones as well, X vertices. So we have this little part of the mesh. Then we want to add a mirror on the X, Y, and Z axis. So it's perfect now. Select these faces. I'm gonna hit I to inset them, and one more thing you need to keep in mind is you need to hit B while inserting the faces, so it will keep the border right there. Now let's give it a loop cut in here. Ctrl R, and I'm going to scale it up. Hit S, and you can add another edge loop here. Double G, scale it up a little bit, and there we go. We got a very nice shape. I'm going to go to my view, and the focal length, I'm going to make it 200 so that we can see the object properly. And honestly, I think it's looking very big. The product looks very kind of fat. Oh, we can fix that, it's not an issue. So let's get those as well. Select these, and I'm gonna bring them down a little bit. And let's get the creases. So first, let's hit Ctrl R. I'm gonna hit Ctrl B on this. We need only one segment and bring down the depth a little bit. And now for this part, I'm gonna apply my mirror. Hit Tab, hit Alt E, extrude along the normals. Hit Ctrl R to give it supporting loops, make it a little bit sharper. Give it supporting loop right here as well, and one right there. Now this looks pretty good. Let's hit 3, select these, and then I'm going to hit I to insert that. get another edge loop right here and bring one up there. We can add another one here as well, so we have a more defined shape going on. You can change the thickness of the shape as well. Select everything, scale Z-axis. Select these top faces. I'm gonna hit Ctrl plus twice and bring it down a little bit. Right click, shade smooth. Now we want to model these kind of waves on the top right there. So first we need to create a curve that is a wave like this. Then we can run a boolean on that and make the object look like that. So let's get a Bezier curve, hit tab. I'm gonna delete this point from it, scale it down a little bit, and E, X-axis. Now let's hit Shift R and do that. We're gonna select one and leave one just like that for all the mesh, and grab Y-axis so that we have these waves. Alright, this looks good. Shift this cursor to world origin. We want to get a cube, and I'm gonna get a geometry nodes right here so that we can quickly create that mesh. Go to geometry nodes, new. Now remove the input and import your curve here. Relatively connect that geometry to geometry. I'm gonna get a curve to mesh node, get a curve circle. Now I'm gonna make it original, bring it right here. I'm going to scale it down, and also let's rotate it. Now let's get an array modifier, make this 0 and bring that up. I bring that back slightly and give it count just like that. I'm gonna bring this object up so it's barely touching the top faces of the object. And now let's go to geometry nodes and tweak this shape a little bit. So for the radius, let's make it a little bit bigger, and in the array modifier I'm gonna bring that back a little bit, and I'm gonna bring up the object slightly that way. Let's go to the viewport display and make it bounce, and go to this mesh, get a boolean modifier and select this object with it. Now as you can see, we got the mesh. But I'm gonna select this mesh again, and we want a little bit more gap in the array. So in the Y-axis, it's -0.43. I'm gonna make it -0.5. And this looks perfect. I'm going to apply all the modifiers on it now. Control A, visual geometry to mesh. Now let's delete all the trash right here. X delete. We got the mesh. Now we want to create this area for the buttons as well. So for that, let's get this edge loop. I'm going to hit Shift D on this and P to separate by selection. Select this edge now, hit tab. I'm gonna hit 1 on this and delete all the vertices right here. Then I'm gonna delete vertices that go right there. X vertices. Object, convert to a curve. Then right here, give it some extrusion. They should be fine. I'm gonna go to the edit mode and remove these points in between. Hit Ctrl X and select these as well, and hit Ctrl X so that we can round these edges later. Honestly, I'm just gonna delete all of these as well and leave 3 points right here. Now let's select this point and bring it back that way. So we got this little plane in there. Now let's give it a subdivisional surface. Make it 3 or something. I'm gonna hit tab. We can just hit E and X-axis. And now just bring these points back and forward to get a smoother result. I'm gonna subdivide this one as well and grab Y-axis and move it that way. So I think this looks very smooth. Right click, shade smooth. Now I'm gonna go for a shrink wrap modifier, target normal object and select this with it. You can see it's shrink wrapped to the surface now, and you can give it a little bit of depth if you want. I'm gonna bring it up a little bit. And now just go to the edit mode, select these two, grab y-axis, and manage the size however you want. Scales at 0, x-axis. Okay, so I'm gonna apply all these modifiers, Control A visual geometry to mesh, then get another modifier which is gonna be my solidify, make the offset to 0, and bring up the thickness, get a bevel modifier, and give it some segments, go to the solidify, give it thickness, and play with the offset. I'm gonna bring it back a little bit, and that's it. Let's go to viewport display and make it bounce. Select this mesh, give it a boolean modifier, and I'm gonna select this object with it. And you can see we got this mesh. Select this object, right click, shade, auto smooth, and that's what we have. I'm just gonna apply this modifier as well. Select that, delete that, hit tab. You want a type of button here, so hit 2, select this face, and hold Control and select this one as well. I'm gonna hit Control B on this, and from that, I'm gonna remove my first and last triangles. Now let's hit Control R. Leave that in its place. I'm gonna hit P and separate by selection. Select this object, right click, set origin to geometry, and object convert to a curve. Hit tab again, 3, select these faces. Alt-E, extrude along the normals. I'm going to select my curve, shift this cursor to select it, shift add in a plane. Hit tab, I'm gonna subdivide this plane. And now let's get a curve modifier and select this new curve that you just had here. I'm gonna hit tab and scale this object. You can see the rotation is not correct. I'm gonna hit RX 90. And if you move it on the x-axis now, you can see the button is moving correctly. Right click, shade smooth. So I'm gonna grab it on the y-axis a little bit and add in a solidify modifier. And bring that up. You can edit the shape as you like. And bring up the segments. So by grabbing it along the x-axis, this is what happens. You got a little button there. I'm gonna select my curve and let's parent this curve to this object. So I hit Control P, first select the curve, then the object, Control P, and keep transform. If I move it now, this is not moving, so let's parent this as well. Select that, then this, Control P, keep transform. And if I move it, this is what happens. Everything is parented there. You want to create a button real quick. First, let's save the file. This is gonna be my product. And right here, Shift add to add in a plane. I'm gonna hit tab, scale X2. Hit Control R to add in a loop cut. Select all the faces, I to inset them, and if your inset is not working, you can just hit B so that it will not inset to the borders. It's looking good. I'm gonna hit E to extrude that up. I to inset again. E again. I think I'm gonna do something in the surface, because that looks better. Right click, shade smooth. I'm gonna select this edge loop, Control B. Control R again, Control R for this one as well, Control R and Control R. So that's what we got. Let's hit Control R on this. Scale Z-axis, we want a button there. So for the button, I'm gonna hit Control R here, hit 3, select these two faces, Shift D. I'm gonna hit L and Shift Edge 2 and bring this edge loop to the middle, Control B again, Control R. Give it a loop cut and select these faces just like that. Let's inset them with double I, Alt-E, extrude along the normals. This looks good. We want a shape key for the button as well, so let's get a new shape key. Get another one, hit tab, select all the vertices in the button, and hit Alt Edge, Control I, so select the button vertices, and I'm gonna grab it along the x-axis so the button works like that. Now let's try that. And you can apply this button to basically any mesh and it will be working perfectly. So first I'm going to add it right here. RX90 negative. And grab y-axis. I just scale it down, grab x-axis, and then I put it right here. Now let's select the edge vertices right here. Go to the vertex groups, create a new one, and this is gonna be mine. Fade. If I go to the weight paint, you can see this how it looks like. And I'm going to apply my subdivision surface, but I can't do that now because I have shape keys on there. Well, you can just do all the modifiers and apply the shape keys later. Let's Control A, Visual Geometry to Mesh. Our shape keys are gone, but we're gonna do it later. Let's go to the Weight Paint, and you can see we have this Fade Vertex group. I'm gonna go to Weights and smooth that. Okay, this is good. If you bring up the Expand, Contract, it will look better. Let's get in a Shrink Wrap. Before doing the shrink wrap, just give it along the y-axis and then get target normal object. Select that with it. Select the group. Then I'm going to get data transfer. Select the fade group here. Select the source and make sure both of these objects have shade auto smooth on, or this will not work. Turn on the face corner data and custom normals. So this should be first face interpolated. Can you see any seam here? I think it works. And just select this object and grab it along the y-axis back a little bit that way. Go to the render view, and now the seam is disappeared, I think. But I'm gonna deal with that later, so let's select the button now and then select the object, Control P and keep transform. Next thing I'm gonna do is I want another button right here. Let's just select that. I'm going to duplicate it, Shift D align the x-axis, remove the shrink wrap and the other modifier, RZ90, negative, grab y-axis, then grab x-axis, DX, and Shift D Y again. Let's get another shrink wrap. Select the object with it, select the group, get data transfer, select the object, select the group, turn on the face corner data and custom normals and nearest face interpolated. It's working, perfect. And then I select this one and then that one, Control L and copy modifiers. And yeah, this should be working. Now you can just select these objects, Control A, Visual Geometry to Mesh, and apply all the modifiers. Now if I rotate that, it's very smooth. Now I want some little holes in this area, so I'm gonna get a plane, scale it up, go to Geometry Nodes, create a new Geometry Node system. This one is gonna be a distribute points on faces. We want some random points to make this poison disc. Bring up the distance, give it some density, and let's bring down the distance a little bit more. Give it density, and then tweak the shape a little bit. Get an instance on points node, and in the instance let's get a cylinder, scale it down, bring up the depth, bring down the radius, give it some more instances, bring down the distance minimum. We can scale up the whole plane as well and bring it up a little bit. Like that, get a boolean, and it's like this mesh, realize instances. Now in the boolean, select this object. If I hide it, you can see we got these holes, but I want them to be a little bit bigger, so for that, make the radius a bit higher. Now make it 0.6, bring up the depth to 15. And that looks good. I'm gonna select this object, Control A to apply the boolean. Delete the geometry nodes object. Let's hit RX in 90, rotate that, RZ 180. I may want to rotate this a little bit with proportional editing. So R to rotate it, and proportional size, let's bring it down. G to grab it, and that should be fine. And this is how the rendered view looks like. I think this looks a little bit different than my product, but I can't model what I modeled before exactly. It would take a lot of time. This is fine, we can work with that. And for these two buttons, I'm gonna select the end vertices, Control minus, and grab x-axis. I'm gonna grab that right here. You want to create that tree kind of shape as well. So for that, you just need a plane, hit tab, M to merge it by at center, E to extrude it, and keep extruding that. Then you're gonna need a subdivision surface to make that smooth, and also you'll need a skin modifier, just like that. Control A to bring down the radius of it, Control A, just like that, bring that up. You just keep extruding vertices from here and make that shape work. I'm gonna add another subdivision surface at the end as well. Right click, shade smooth, and turn on the smooth shading right here. And I want another root right here. Bring it up, Control A. But we're gonna sculpt that later, so don't worry about the shape of it now. grave Z-axis, Control A to bring down the radius of the tip. Then I hit E again, Control A right here as well. Bring that far a little bit. Just model your tree as you want it and have fun with it. Let's get a plane, scale it up, grave x-axis, Control 3, hit tab, extrude it up just like this. Select everything, grave z-axis. Select this object as well, Control A, visual geometry to mesh, Control J to join them. Let's add in a remesh modifier and turn on smooth shading. Control A to apply this. Hit tab, L to select the linked ones, Control I, X vertices, go to sculpt mode. I'm just gonna go to my smooth brush right here and sculpt this mesh as you would do normally. Just randomize the shape a little bit. Tab, select these, Control plus, hit O, scale Z-axis. Then I'm gonna bring up the proportional size, scale Z-axis to 0. Go to sculpt mode again and smooth these areas out just like this. But first, I'm gonna add in a smooth modifier. Alt S to bring this up like that. Control A to apply this. The ends are a little bit too sharp. So I'm gonna get the inflate brush and move it around on this one to make them look a bit sad. Play around with the settings and all that till you get a good result, and that's cool. Let's play with this shape, hit G to get the grab brush. I'm gonna randomize this mesh a little bit, just like that. Make it kind of a stand for the object. Go inside this, and now let's get the smooth brush and hover over it just like that. I'm gonna hit tab, hit C, select these vertices right here. And now let's come over here, like these two. I'm gonna hit Shift H, go to sculpt mode, hit G and bring this in there. Smooth that out, Alt H, smoothen that and bring it right here. You can also add more details with the snake hook brush. I'm gonna hide my reference images because I don't need them anymore. And this is the object that we got. I think the modeling is done. Now for my example, I remeshed this one with the quad remesher so it looked very smooth. Let me try and remesh it again. We're gonna make it smoother. Let's go to sculpt mode and inflate that. Turn on smooth shading. Let's get a smooth modifier again. Not bad. Now let's just Control A, visual geometry to mesh. So this is how our model looks like. This is the setup. Nothing too fancy. You can tweak these and make it look better. And I'll see you in the next session. Hello ladies and gentlemen. Today we're gonna be texturing this product, which I don't have a name for yet, but let me know in the comments what should we name it. I've changed this tree model because I liked my old one better. You can also download this tree, I will provide a link to it. And now let's get on with texturing this product. It is gonna be very simple and very minimal kind of look. First, we're gonna do the body. So let's open a tab here. We're gonna make it the shading tab and give it a new material. We're gonna name it to body, just like that. So first, what we want here is a gradient from top to bottom. So for that, I'm gonna get a texture coordinates node. Then we're going to get the object, and I'm going to add a separate XYZ. So this will separate our axes and give us a gradient. I want a gradient on the Z-axis, so we're gonna go for the Z. And now let's tweak these values and make them work. So I want a map range as well. Get that, make it smoother step, and play with these values until it looks smooth enough. This looks great. Now I'm gonna bring up the tool maximum value so that it's a little bit brighter, and play with this to bring it back just like this. Now let's get a color ramp to give it a color. The first one is going to be white, and the second one is going to be orange. Let's flip the color ramp. So now let's get a math node right here and play with this value. You can see this upper one looks a little bit orange. So for that to fix, I'm gonna bring the white value back a little bit. And let's bring this up to 1. Now we want to add little dots to these areas, but I want the dots in this area to be white and the dots right here to be orange. So this is kind of a cross-fading thing going on here, and we're gonna do that real quick. I'm going to add in a Voronoi texture. This is gonna give us the dots, and you can use it anywhere to get these dots. Connect the object to the vector. We want 0 randomness, and let's get a color ramp on this as well so that we can get the dots. I'm gonna flip that just like this, and there we go. We're already getting something. Play with the scale so that it looks all even. And this is what I'm going for. Let's bring up the scale actually. I think this looks pretty good. Let's make it constant. And give it a scale that you like. Now I'm going to give it that same color. So let's hit Ctrl C. And then right here, I'm gonna paste this color. So we got that, and the second one is going to be white. Now let's get a hue saturation node, hue saturation value. Right here, I'm gonna get this and connect it to the saturation. And now I'm gonna mix that with my color ramp up there. So let's get a mix node, mix color, connect that to the color A, and connect this one to color B, and connect that to the base color. Bring up the factor to 1 and make this to color. Turn off the clamp factor. Instead of just using separate XYZ, I'm gonna get a gradient texture here. Get a gradient texture. Or let's see how this looks like. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Let's get in a math node on this and multiply it. So what we did was we got a texture coordinate, separate XYZ. We added some value to it which controls the gradient just like that. Then we got a gradient texture set to easing. Then we got a map range. These are the values. You can play with them and get smoother results, but that's basically it. Now, we got a color ramp from the map range to set the color of the object. Then we got another color ramp from the Voronoi texture, and we set some dots on the object. Now, I'm gonna change the saturation of the dots that are right here to 0, so they are just fully white, and these are stayed on its place. And I'm controlling that with this gradient. So now, click on that and mix these two with the color. You can see the first one is color and the second one is color as well, and clamp that, and the factor is set to 1. The result will look like that. So in the orange areas, the dots are white, and in the white areas, the dots are orange. And this gradient looks very interesting to me. Now I'm gonna bring down the roughness a little bit, give it a little bit of metallicness, and yeah, that's the first body material. And now I don't want this to be that simple, so let's get a bump node, connect that to the normal. We're gonna get a Voronoi texture, connect that to the height, and for the vector, I'm gonna get a texture coordinate node, connect the object to the vector. Now let's scale this up all the way to 40 or something. I'm gonna invert that. And now we will choose half the strength and bring down the distance, so it's not that high. Now let's bring up the scale a little bit more. So for the scale, I'm choosing something like 120, but your numbers might be different because it depends on the scale of the object. So right here, let's bring down the strength a little bit, so it's very subtle but looks good. I'm gonna save the file. Now for these objects, I'm gonna give it the same body material. Come over here and hold this with your mouse, drag and drop it on this object, and then get this one as well, put it on here, and on these two buttons as well. So you're just gonna drop them over here. You can select it too from here, but yeah, that's easier to just drop it there. But you can see these are not matching the geometry, but we're gonna solve it real quick. So instead of using these coordinates, I'm gonna get a geometry node and connect the position to the vector. Now you'll see that it disappeared, but to make it look normal, I'm gonna play with this add node and bring it up right here. We can see we got our gradient back. And you can use this position for this as well. Now it's perfect. I'm gonna duplicate this geometry and just put it there. Remove this one. And look at these nodes. It's a very simple setup. I'm gonna hit Ctrl J to frame that. I'm gonna hit Ctrl G on this one to make it a group. And this is going to be our universal bump, because I'm gonna use this bump on all of the materials. Now I want a material for this area, because I don't want these dots to be on here. So let's hit tab, and this is very easy to give multiple materials to one object. You just have to select that area first. I'm gonna go over there. Let's go inside this scene right here and select this space loop. So I selected this thing. You can see I selected the whole loop right there. So I'm gonna hide this first. Once it's hidden, I'm gonna select one right here and just hit L on this. It will select all the vertices that were in this side of this border, because we made a little bit of space here by hiding these spaces. So we got this geometry. Now I'm gonna go to my materials and create a new material. Assign this and create a new one. This is going to be my waves, and assign that. Now one more thing. I want this material to be on these waves right here. And on this I'm gonna give a new material. So let's select that part and assign it our first body material. How can we select that? Just select the face here and hit L. Then you're gonna choose UV here, and they have different series like me, so we can just select the whole thing with that. I'm gonna go to materials and go to the body and assign that. So that material will be assigned there. I'm gonna go to material preview mode, and there we go. We got it. There's one more thing. I want the dots here, but I don't want the dots right there. So for that, what you can do is just add a new material and select the body material right here. And I'm gonna copy it. Let's name it to body 2. Now we can edit this material. Now I'm gonna go to the edit mode, and right here, assign the body 2 to this. Now we have a new material that we can edit, and what you have to do is just remove this node and these ones from here. If you hit Ctrl X, you will see that the dots are gone from here, and we only have them on this side. So that's looking pretty good. Now let's go to my waves material, and right there, let's get a new bump system on this. Let's get a Verona texture. This one is gonna be just slightly different, not that much. And connect the object coordinates to the vector. And I'm adding these nodes by just hitting Ctrl T, and for that you just have to turn on the node wrangler add-on. I'm gonna connect the distance to the height. We're gonna get a color ramp as always to tweak the Verona texture. Randomness is gonna be 0. Scale it up. Oh, this looks pretty nice. What if we invert that? Oh, this is better. Let's bring down the scale, let's bring down the distance as well. The scale is going to be something like 70, and this should be fine. Now, I'm leaving the color to be just white because I think it's a very good combination between these colors. And of course, you can always edit the gradient as you like. Now, I'm going to give materials to the buttons as well. So for them, just select them. Hit tab, going to the edit mode, and if you notice, the button shape is a little bit different because I'm using my old model here because I liked it better, and yeah, that's just my choice. I'm gonna select that, go to the materials, create new material, assign that. It's gonna be my button, assign that here, and I want, I think I want just white button as well. So we're gonna give it my universal bump, which is the group we just created before. You're gonna search it here and import it right there. This is gonna be my normal. What you can also do is go to the bump group, hit tab, and output the scale to the input. Now you can control the scale for each object individually, and the others will not change. So let's go to this button, hit tab, L to select that, create a new material, select the material button, assign it, and there you go, you got it. Now we have this one. Let's just choose the button as well for this one. Gonna hit L on this one as well. Create a new material, it's gonna be the button, assign it here. Tab, L, new material, button, assign. Now one more thing that you can do is, in these creases of the button, I made these little creases as well, which you can create with your buttons too. I select those spaces, I'm gonna create a new material, assign new, this is gonna be my emission orange. Assign that here, remove the principled BSDF, we're gonna get an emission node, and give it that orange color, and give it a strength of 5. Now just do that for all the buttons. Select the 2 face loops in there, for new material, emission, assign. Let's go in there as well, select that, new material, emission, assign. This was an easy one, isn't it? Shading of this wasn't that hard. For me, for the first time, it was a little bit tricky to figure out all the colors and stuff. But now it's very easy, you can just apply these things because they work. Let's go to the cycles and see how that looks like. Okay, this is looking awesome. You can change all these things, but the details on it look amazing. Now, let's just shade the tree as well. I almost forgot about that. Let's go to the material preview. When it's like that, create a new material. It's gonna be my tree material. So for this is gonna be a little bit different. We're gonna get a noise texture. This is where we start. I'm gonna get a color ramp. Set this to constant. Bring that back. The detail is gonna be 0. Make it 40 so that we can animate it to 2 if we want. Just like that. I'm gonna bring down the scale, bring that back a little bit, bring up the scale a little bit more. And now let's play with the W. You can see this is how it looks. Let's get a wave texture. And I'm gonna apply 2 materials on these parts. So the white one is a different and the black one is a different material. Then we're gonna do both of them inside one material. Let's duplicate the principled BSDF. We're gonna get a mix shader and put that right here. Now instead of connecting that to the base color, I'm gonna move that here and connect the color to the factor. First of all, we want a wavy displacement, so let's get a bump node. Connect the factor to the height, connect the normal to the normal, and right here as well. I'm gonna hit Ctrl T, remove this mapping, connect the object to the vector. And always save the file, because you never know. Now I'm gonna preview that. Let's scale it up. Let's give it some distortion. Now this looks a little bit bad. So for that I'm gonna bring the detail down to 0 and the detail scale down as well. Now this is looking interesting. Let's bring that down, bring up the scale maybe. I'm gonna bring down the strength. The distance is gonna be 0.1. Then I think this looks good. Now one more thing, let's add in a Verona texture. I want little dots on this as well. This is kind of my theme now because I'm using these dots everywhere. So let's preview that. I'm gonna get the object, connect that to the vector, randomness to 0, give it some more scale, get a color ramp, make it constant. This one is gonna be the orange color and this one is gonna be white. And we want this combination right here. So the white one is back there and that is looking fine. We can play with the scale and get a different result that you want. Connect that to the base color right here, preview that. Okay, I'm gonna invert these. This looks far more interesting than that. Look at this, it's a whole new theme. So you get a plane, scale it up. Of course we're gonna do the scenes and the animating, lighting as well later, but look at this and see how it looks like. EZ, TZ. It's a very nice theme that we got on right here. Of course you can just change the look of it as you want by changing the W value in the noise texture, and this is how it's looking. If you get into any problem, just join my Discord. I will provide the link and let me know. I'll help you out. And also, I've got an announcement to make. Whoever grades this results from my course and tags me on Instagram, I'll look at the results and 3 of you can get both my products. One is the H2O droplet simulation and the Textify tool for text animation. You're gonna get both of them for free if you make the best animation with this course. So that was it for today, and I'm gonna see you later and we're gonna animate this product. This series where I'm going to be showing you how to create different kind of simple animations to get you started with product animation easily. So here we are in the same scene that we left in the shading part, and now I'm going to show you how to create the most interesting 360 animation. And this is the basic shot that we're going to start from. So first let's select that object. I'm going to hide this plane and hide this object as well. So we have that. Now as we've already done the parenting, I'm just gonna select all these objects here. You can just hit Ctrl C on this and they will be copied. Now right here, I'm gonna click this button and we're gonna create a new scene. And now in there, just hit Ctrl V to paste the whole thing. I'm gonna close this shading tab first and open a timeline here. Hit L to get the timeline. Oh, and I think in the shading part we did a little mistake. So if you go to the shading tab, you can see we used the position as the coordinates for the gradient. So to fix that, we're gonna have to use object coordinates or UV coordinates. Okay, let's get an empty. Shift S cursor to selected and Shift S selection to cursor. Let's right click, adjust empty size, bring it up. I'm gonna select this now. And let's get in texture coordinate and select the object empty with it. Now connect the object to the vector. Now I'm gonna play with this add value. Okay, I think this is the solution. Now just select these 3 nodes and copy them. And then we're gonna go to the materials tab. Select the second material, the body side stat 001, and paste it here. Connect that to the gradient again and remove these. So I think that's it. Now I'm going to select this object. Everything is parented to this. And then I'm going to select this empty right here. Hit Ctrl P and keep transform. Now when we rotate or move this empty, our gradient is going to stay on its place, because the coordinates are related to that empty. Now we can do anything we like and our texture problem is solved. So now let's get a camera here. I'm gonna go to timeline and let's Shift S cursor to world origin, Shift S selection to cursor. Now let's get a camera, grab Y axis, and we're gonna open a camera view right here and hit T. Turn off both of these. Go to camera view. You can go to camera view from here as well. And now I'm going to select my camera, go to the camera settings and turn up the pass part out to 1. So you get all the black boundary right there. Let's rotate this product a little bit so that it's interesting. And I'm going to hit RZ to rotate it that way as well. And now hit double R just like that to get a nice angle of that. I'm gonna hit I to insert a location and rotation keyframe. On the 150 frame, hit RZ 360 degrees. I'm gonna hit I, insert location and rotation. Now if you play this, this is how it looks like. It's not very interesting, but we're gonna fix that in the graph editor. And later we're gonna give it some location as well. But you can do that in the camera too. Now if I go to my graph editor by going right here, you can see we have the Z axis right there. And we're gonna change that. So let's turn off all the other ones and just leave the Z axis. So I'm gonna duplicate this keyframe, bring it right here and scale Y0. Scale it up again, just like that, and rotate it a little bit. So let's see how this looks like. Okay. Now on the frame 74, I'm gonna select all the keyframes with A, and let's go back just like that, and grab it along the Y-axis. See Y? So something like that. Let's check that out. Now let's play this. Okay, this is what I want. I think this is too slow, so I'm gonna select all the keyframes, hit S and bring the scale down until it looks like 120 or something. So we're covering up 120 frames right there, and the end is gonna be 120 as well. Now let's play this. Great. Now our motion is looking a little bit more interesting, and now what I want to do is locate this too. So right here, I'm going to bring this along the Y-axis, Y-axis, and insert location and rotation. Now let's play that. So you can see it zooms to the camera a little bit, so that's what we want, and then it goes back just like that. Now on this frame, I'm going to try something different here. Let's just hit double R on this and rotate it that way and insert location and rotation. Let's play that. Okay, this is a very nice animation. I personally don't like the simple 360 animations. They just don't look good. They look very stiff. And I think this is an interesting way to do 360 animations. Now you can do an interesting lighting here. Let's go to the rendered view. The max samples are gonna be 300. And the noise threshold is gonna be 0.001. Denoise, let's make it optics, and I'll be doing normal. If you don't have these specs, you can just leave it on default, but the samples is gonna be 300. The look is gonna be medium high contrast, and that's it. Now I'm gonna choose RGB here, and that's it. Now let's do some lighting as well. So first of all, I want to show the edges of the product. So to do that, you're gonna need to add light, area light behind the product. So let's RX90 negatives and grab Y-axis. Let's scale this light up and give it a power of 1000. So you can see the edges are appearing slowly. Let's just scale that up. And there we go. We got Apple kind of look here. So let's make it 1500. And I'm gonna scale the light up a little bit more. Bring it down just like that. This is looking awesome. Now I'm gonna add another light to reveal this area of the product. So let's hit Shift D to duplicate the same one. Scale it down. Hit double R. And there we go. Now in the spread, I'm gonna make it 20 and let's see how this looks like. And the power is gonna be 500. Great double Z and look at this. You can get different looks here. This is looking very interesting. And now if you play this, that's how it's gonna look like. So there you go, we got the 360 animation. Actually, I'm gonna change the background, so go to the film, turn on transparent, so we get some transparency here. Then go to compositing, turn on use nodes, Control Shift click on that and get an alpha over. Bring that down and set your color to be gray or something. I'm gonna render it again. Once that's done, you can choose the color right here as you like. So let's go for something like this. This looks nice. You can go to compositing now and get a color balance node. It will make it look very good. In the first one, let's bring it down a little bit. To give it that cool look, I'm gonna make the second one bluish. And the third one, let's bring it up just like that. Now, see the difference here. If I mute that, it looks pretty good. Now you can play around with the lights and all that and get different looks. The spread, I'm gonna make it 50 now. It's much softer now. And you can see what I did here. I have turned on the viewport compositing here, so the compositing I did there is gonna be visible in the viewport compositor right here. If I disable it, you can see it's our old scene right there, and the camera, it's composited. You can set it to always our camera, so if it's set to camera, it will be available in camera only. That's our 360 animation. You can play around with all that settings and stuff like that. Now let's create some more shots here. So let's come over here on the timeline, A, X, and delete keyframes. Now, I want to parent my camera to an empty so that we can control it easily. So let's Shift S cursor to selected, Shift A, empty, and cube. I'm gonna set this size up. Select the camera, then select the empty cube, Control P and keep transform. Select the cube, scale it down, our Z-axis, just find a good angle here so that we can capture it. And we're gonna change the lighting for it as well. So just scale that down. And in this scene, I want to move this button just like that, so it's a very cool shot just like that. So go back to frame 1, R double X, and bring it back just like that. Scale it back a little bit, and I insert location and rotation. Now this is gonna be 60 frames shot, so the end frame is gonna be 60. Then hit R double X again, bring it back just like this. I'm gonna scale it down a little bit in G to bring it down a little bit. Insert location and rotation. Now let's play that. I think this is a little bit fast, so the end frame is gonna be 100 for that. Select that and bring it back to 100. Now this looks nice. So on frame 1, insert rotation. On frame 100, R double Z, and bring it back just like this. Insert rotation again. Now if you play that, much more interesting. So I want to change the lighting a little bit so that it looks better. Depends on what you like. You can duplicate this light and bring it right here to this side and hide this one as well, or make it very less powerful, like 50. And look at that. I also want to animate this thing because I modeled it right. Let's select that. On the frame 20, I'm gonna insert a offset keyframe right here. We have this on the constraints, and on the frame 80, let's bring down the offset. that way and insert this. Now if you play that, we also had those shape keys for the buttons, so you can animate them too. But that's the shot we have done. Now let's create another shot, which is gonna be the final one, something like daylight. I'm gonna hit Alt H to reveal my objects here. Let's turn this on as well. We're going to get a camera first. Shift A, camera, and Control Alt and numpad 0. Select the camera. In the focal length, I'm gonna make it 200, and GZZ, then bring it back just like this. You can bring it back from here as well. GZZ, and grab it that way. Now we haven't done any lighting here. Gonna go to material preview. So let's get a light. We're gonna get a spotlight. Double R, GZZ. The power is gonna be 30,000. Now let's select the camera first and turn on the pass part out. Turn it up. Select the light. Go to the rendered view. And now I'm gonna go to the shading tab, turn on use nodes on this light. We're gonna get a noise texture. It's gonna be used as a gobo, so it will cover some light and let some light in to make those interesting shadows. And now I'm gonna hit Ctrl T, use the normal coordinates, remove the mapping node. After the factor, we're gonna use a greater than node. It's a math node set to greater than. Connect that to the strength, bring up the noise scale. Now you can see those interesting shadows, and if I bring up and down the threshold on this is how it looks like. You can bring up the scale as you like and just duplicate this greater than, set it to multiply, and you can change the power of the light from here. Now this looks very sharp. To make it smooth, you're gonna turn up the radius. And look at this. It looks awesome. Now you can bring up the scale of noise as well. And that's it. Bring it up and down the threshold. And there you go. You can just post this render on your Instagram. It looks pretty nice. And you can also animate the light here. So if you set this to 40 and then you play around with the W of the noise, you can animate it. Just click this and type hash frame divided by 1000 or something. And if it's too fast, you're gonna divide by a bigger number. Now if I play this, you can see how this looks like. It's still very fast, so I'm gonna divide it by 2500. And now let's play that. Look at this. It looks awesome. And we've animated that in the shading as well, so it's also animated. There you go, we got a clean composition here. Now, what I want to do is just do a little bit of camera movement. We want an empty as well for this one. Shift S cursor to select it, Shift add an empty, plane axis, and scale it up. Bring it up right here. Select the camera, then select the empty. Control P, and keep transform. I'm gonna select the empty first, and now we're gonna animate it. So you can do all sorts of motions here, just very subtle ones with RZ and stuff like that. But I'm gonna do a very simple shot here now. First, let's scale this. Hit double R to rotate it. Scale it down a little bit. That's the first shot that I'm gonna make. So insert, location, rotation, and scale. And on the frame 60, I'm going to hit RZ, double R, scale it up a little bit, and insert, location, rotation, and scale. So let's play this. I'm gonna select this object now, And make sure you have changed the coordinates for this, because we use the object coordinates with an empty on it there. So for that, you just have to Shift S cursor selected, Shift add in an empty plane axis, scale the empty up, select the object, and then we're gonna get an object coordinate, select the empty with it, then connect the object to the vector and play around with this value. So if I bring it down, oh, the white looks very nice. And in the second one as well, you just have to copy these nodes, copy, and paste it here, connect that to the vector, and just delete them. So that's it. Now parent this object to this empty. Control P, keep transform. Now we're gonna animate this empty only. So on the frame 45, I'm gonna insert a location and rotation. And on the frame 1, let's grab this away, just like that, rotate it to move it away that way. And hit double R to randomize the rotation a little bit more. And insert location and rotation. Now if you play this, look at that. It looks awesome. So on frame 61, I'm going to select the camera controller empty, which is right here, and hit Alt R and Alt S on this RZ axis, scale it down that way, insert location, rotation and scale. Now on frame 200, we're going to scale it back that way in RZ axis, double R to give it some interesting rotation, insert location, rotation and scale. The end frame is going to be 200. Let's play that. Okay, this looks pretty nice. If you want a nice transition here, on the frame 55, insert a location, rotation and scale keyframe on the camera controller, and on the frame 60, scale it up back just like that. And now insert location, rotation and scale. And on frame 61, scale the empty down, insert location, rotation and scale, and frame 65, scale it up back to its normal state, insert location, rotation and scale. Now if you play that, it's gonna look much more interesting because we did that transition in there. You can see, nice. But a little bit of problem here is we haven't really rotated the right way. So on frame 61, let's rotate it like this and insert location, rotation and scale. Now if you play that, oh, if I bring this back to the 70, okay, let's rotate it a little bit more. Scale it down, insert location, rotation and scale. Now the 70th keyframe is gonna be on 90 or 100 so that we get a smoother transition. Let's just delete this keyframe. Now I don't want to spend more time on this and just play around with your scene, and I think I'll see you in my next tutorial.